If they so strongly believe in what they're saying, like Sifuna, why can't he just resign from ODM, vacate the senatorial seat, and then proceed with his campaign? Because him remaining a member of the ODM, and this is a conflict I struggle to understand, his own party leader of ODM today is calling for what he said a benevolent dictator for this nation. Though they are having discourse on his SG position and all and being whipped from the Senate. But do you not find that conflicting? If these people believe in what they're saying, like we're saying the concept of Kalonzo, having been around for so long, he doesn't substantiate what he can do for the country, in my opinion. Again, in my opinion, I ask, can persons like Sifuna not just resign from ODM, vacate senatorial position, and now join the cause?
If he was rich, he was rich, believe me, he would have dropped out a long time. Kama angekuwa ameiba, angekuwa kuna pesa, watches imejaa hapo, believe me, he would have resigned now. But let me tell you,
but you know what I say. You know,
let me tell you the sad truth of our politics.
Right.
It costs a lot of money to run our politics. You understand? Movement, security, MPA system, all this is costing money. You understand? Na Sifuna, and he literally, we're all surviving. It's like you're telling me to quit what I'm doing right now so that I can focus on the leadership of the people. I cannot quit this till I'm sure that I have a seat and now I have a full mandate to serve the people. Then I can, kwa sababu nitalishaje familia yangu nyumbani, nitaendeleaje na hii kazi ambayo tunafanya bila hiyo mshahara ambayo anategemea. Umeelewa? So pia lazima tukue understanding in a way that if he loses his position, first of all, it's even more dangerous because he will not be in Senate now to even talk about the issues that he is talking about at the moment. You understand? So you look at the bigger picture where, okay, I'm with these guys, but let's just finish this 1 year and be able to bring the real change that we need. So to be honest, kama angekuwa nado, believe me, angekuwa ametoka kitambo.
But it's not even a question of money. It's a question of fidelity to the people. Because I look at, you were elected to that position through this party that had certain vision or ideologies. It has gotten to a point where the ideologies that you stand for, right, contradicts that which the party is now pushing at that particular moment. Therefore, there is that contradiction on the party that put me here is pushing different things. Whether you like it or not, today Sifuna remains being the senator elected through ODM, right?
Correct.
But he does not push the agenda of the party anymore. The sensible thing to do in a democracy that has matured is step out, let the people decide whether they still want you there based off your performance and deliverables. That is the accountability that you're talking about here.
No, let me tell you, I agree, that's the highest level. That's the kind of accountability where Prime Minister resigns because the train arrived late on time. You understand? This is the kind of accountability. But do we have that accountability from top to bottom in Kenya? No. With all these killings that have happened, in another country for sure, even a president would have resigned in a very mature democratic. So we're in a country where, to be honest, if he does that, in fact, he's exposing the Mwananchi even more.
But I think
even the voting that happened in Senate, he would have not voted.
Hajj, what Dennis is alluding to, and I tend to agree. If anybody resign, doesn't have to be Sifuna. It can also be Metho, Senator Metho, because he belongs to UDA. Senator Metho is not a member of DCP. Why can they just resign? Because in 90 days, they'll go back to the ballot. Okay,
people will decide
as provided for by the Constitution, and the people will decide if this is a person we want, the person we feel is accountable enough to advocate for us. They'll vote them in, even on an independent candidate or any other political party. That's the level of accountability we are seeking, because self-preservation is what sustained colonialism. If we are to expound that concept, people are saying, if Muzungu goes, how are we going to survive? You saw the case in South Africa. They said, no, if you give this country to Africans, it's going to be rent down. You understand? So the concept of self-preservation is very selfish in its own nature. But the people who have been able to see a revolution go through, you can talk of, the Cuban Revolution is the most popular. People gave up their own personal desires. Today, everybody dons Che Guevara's attire. But the sacrifices the man made, personal sacrifices, if he had said, no, I want to stay with my wife or my kids, he would not have conquered what he did. Remember, he even declined a position in Cuba to proceed to Argentina and other countries. I don't want to proceed on that, but you get the concept. Why is it we do not have people who are committed to the cause of liberating this country like the freedom fighters did? The people who fought for the second dispensation, the constitution in the late 80s, early 90s. There are many, but the person who always comes to my mind is Reverend Timothy Njoya. The guy was part of clergy, he had a job, but you'd come to the streets and we saw him being beaten, among many other people. They made those personal sacrifices because they believed in the cause. Yeah. So sometimes I wonder, it is just pure rhetoric we see from people seeking political expediency, that they cannot simply resign from a position which they can still contest for within 90 days.
Because then again, let me just add, because then again, if Sifuna says that his greatest example is Raila Odinga resigned at one point in time and said, I do not believe and trust that I go with this ideology. If that's an example that was set, why not set it?
No, I agree. And the thing is, you have to look at each and every case in its own instance. You understand? Each and every instance. Ni kama sasa utaniambia mbona sikumpiga ule mwizi. Sikumpiga kwa sababu ningempiga kulikuwa na wezi wengine wangeniattack. Umeelewa? So sometimes there's a third angle which we don't see that they see, because he's the one in that position. You understand? And he knows. And I'm sure Sifuna always stands for what is right. Believe me, as a person and also as a leader. And I can assure you that he would have done this if it eats him up. At Ekuka SG, ODM. Nobody wants to be associated with the ODM. I mean, at the moment, why? I mean, I was a diehard of ODM. I loved Baba so much, but I don't agree with the principles of ODM anymore. Why? Because ODM spoke truth through power. ODM meant democracy. ODM, in the past would always field a presidential candidate. Now all of a sudden they can't. So I feel like this is not the ODM, and we all defected along with Sifuna because we felt like we still have to carry on with the spirit of ODM, where the democracy was handed over to the Mwananchi. But now it's different. So the guy is really assessing, and by him staying as the SG of, it's like you're saying, why didn't he retire? Why did he resign from ODM? Let us give these guys a tough time. You understand? It's political. Let us give these guys a tough time.
Okay.
While we arrange ourselves and move on with our current, the real spirit of ODM. So to be honest, there's some things you look at from your angle, you see it's bad, but from our side, we're looking at it as a strategy sometimes, and sometimes we even agree to lose a battle. Some of these elections that they're celebrating wins, it's because we agreed to lose a battle, but we are ready to win the war.
You